welcome back, and we are doing our NFL report. Sorry, Tuesday and Wednesday I was too busy and I couldn't put the NFL report Tuesday or Madden Mobile Wednesday, but they're still going to be called that because this is Thursday, and here we go. We're going to do the Patriots and the Broncos first. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so Tom Brady was 27 for 56, 310 yards, and his average was 5 and 5/10. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. New England's best rusher was Tom Brady for 13 yards, 4 and 3/10. Whew, is his average. The best receiver was Rob Gronkowski. He had 8 receptions for 144 yards. His average was 18 yards. He had 1 touchdown, and his long was 40. New England had 1 fumble. Jonathan Freeney had 1 recovery. Jamie Collins was the best defensive player. He had 8 tackles, 6 solo tackles, and 2 sacks. New England had no interceptions. New England had 1 kick return for 19 yards. New England had 3 punt returns, 32 yards, and his average was 10 and 7/10, and his long was 28. Stephen Gostkowski had 2 field goals, and he had 0 out of 1 extra point. Ryan Allen had 6 punts for 281 yards. His average was 46 and 8/10, 1 in the 20, and his long was a 55. Peyton Manning was 17 for 32, had 176 yards. His average was 5 and 5/10, 2 touchdowns. Denver's whole rushing core had 30 carries for 99 yards. Their average was 3 and 3/10 yards, and the long was by C.J. Anderson, 30 yards. Denver's receiving combined had 17 receptions for 176 yards, 10 and 4/10 average, and 34 was the longest reception. Peyton Manning had 1 fumble and lost it to Freeney. Denver's whole defensive core, 63 tackles, 41 solo tackles, and 4 sacks, and I think that if I can go back up here, I don't know what that means, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're mad at me. Okay, so we had 1 interception for 8 yards for Darian Stewart, and Von Miller had 1 interception for 4 yards. Shiloh Keogh had 1 kick return for 3 yards. Jordan Norwood had 3 punt returns for 21 yards. The average was 7 yards, and the long was 16. Brandon McMarcus is 2 for 2 for field goals and had 2 for 2 for extra points. Britton Colquitt had 9 punts for 423 yards. Average was 47 yards, 4 in the 20. 54 was his long. Here we go. We're going back town. I'll pause the video real quick. We're back, and our second game is the Panthers and the Cardinals. Kind of messed up right there. I said the first game. Too bad. I'll get it next time. Okay, so we had Carson Palmer for 23 for 40, 235 yards, 5 and 9/10 average, 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions, and he also had 2 fumbles, which aren't said here. And the team's rushing combined was 16 carries for 60 yards, and the average was 3 and 8/10, 1 touchdown, and the long was 23. Arizona's receiving combined was 23 receptions for 235 yards. The average was 10 and 2/10, and they had 1 touchdown. 21 was the long. Arizona fumbles. 2 fumbles by Carson Palmer, 2 lost fumbles. Patrick Peterson had 1 fumble and 1 lost fumble. The whole defensive core for tackling was 76 tackles, 34 solo, and 1 sack. Arizona had 1 interception. Patrick Peterson, 72 yards. Arizona kick returns. 2 kick returns, 45 yards, average 22 and 5/10. 26 is long. Patrick Peterson had 2 punt returns for 2 yards. The average was 1 yard, and the long was 2 yards. Arizona kicking, no kicking except for an extra point. Drew Bowler, 4 punts, 195 yards, 48 and 8/10 is the average. 1 in the 20. Long was 52. And that's the end of our NFL report. See you guys later.